test your grip. Rack pulls. In that lower back, a little bit in the lats, the glutes, a bit in the hamstrings. We're using this for a nice back kind of starter, and then on the pull-ups after this. The final day of phase 3, the 6th day in the 3rd phase. So you're going to be getting 1 day of rest, then you're going to be repeating it for 2 more weeks. Wow. 3/4 of the way through the plan. Seemed to come fast, but seems just about right at the same time, which we're feeling very, very good about. Seems like at the end of each phase, we felt like we're ready to get on to the next one. And if at any time you're thinking, you know what, phase 3 is still feeling a little hard, or maybe you're just still really enjoying one of the phases, feel free to stay on another extra week or 2 to get accustomed to it, to enjoy it, before moving on to the next. We have them all set at 3 weeks, but it's not set in stone. Pull-up seems like they should feel a little bit easier than what they do right now, but starting with rack pulls definitely tests your lats. Although it's not going through the, I guess, the common kind of concentric and eccentric contraction on rack pulls, they really are engaged the whole time to stabilize the weight. So once you start incorporating pull-ups immediately after, you really feel that fatigue in the lats. And, you know, pull-ups are good. You want to get into the hanging position. You want to retract and depress the scapula. Buff dude's drinking game. You want to bring the bar up to the clavicle level. As you can see here, the bar is kind of missing. So you just use your imagination. It's basically where your hands are. You want to bring it right up to about the clavicle here. Bring it back down to the bottom position. Rinse and repeat. Probably our favorite upper body weight exercise of all time, pull-ups. Oh yeah, should be in every buff dude and girl's arsenal. Speaking of scapular retraction, this is one that you do have to also make sure you get that motion. And a couple tips keep in mind if you're really having trouble getting that specific activation there. One is get your elbows as far back as possible. So if you're not able to do that, go down in weight so that you can really bring those elbows really far back, help contract the lats, but also kind of act like you're meeting your chest to the weight. So that's gonna pull your chest up, and that's gonna pull your shoulders back at the same time. So the combination of bringing your elbows really far back, puffing your chest out here, all of a sudden your scapula is retracted. Buff dude's drinking game. Scapular retraction. Pullovers. This was included in our old school exercise video. It was old school. I think it's gained a lot of popularity recently, so a lot of people are utilizing, which is great because it's an excellent exercise for your lats, a bit of your chest, serratus anterior, your abs. You know, really try to keep those hips down and let it go over the head. Feel that nice stretch. You don't want to feel any real pain or impingements in your shoulders, so if that happens, either arms are too straight or you're just a bit too heavy in the weight. So bend your elbows to relieve a little bit of pressure on the elbows, a bit in the shoulder, and to rep it out. Nice deep breaths when you bring it back, and exhale when you bring it to the top position. And then kind of getting in that fluid motion, you'll really start feeling it. Speaking of old school, there were claims by old school bodybuilders back in the day that an exercise such as pullovers could expand the rib cage. I think most of us would probably categorize that under what they call bro science nowadays, but on one end of the spectrum, that mind-mental connection, really just having an active imagination, can, in certain scenarios, really help you make it through the workout. Me and Brandon joke about, you know, making crazy faces on those last reps or singing cheesy 80s songs. It's funny just how much things like that can really help make it through the workout. So even though you may know fact from fiction, sometimes just using an active imagination can really help you through an exercise, through a rep. Maybe you're just having a bad day in the gym, you put on that killer kick-ass playlist and you get it done. Really anything that helps you personally to make it work, that's the important part.
Nice burn in that chest. Shoulders back, chest up. Another one of those exercises that you kind of want to feel like you're meeting your chest to the weight. Gonna help pull the chest up, get a little extra stretch in there, and then pull those shoulders back, and then press from there. As you can see too with the dumbbells, you can adjust the positioning, which is really nice. So if you're having some problems with the barbell press, try the dumbbell press out, because you can kind of bring your elbows in a bit more, and you can see that's a bit more of like a neutral grip rather than a kind of a flared position. Although even with the barbell, you can kind of feel like you're creating some torque by bringing your elbows in, but with dumbbells it makes it a bit easier.
This thing with the dumbbells too, if you haven't done them for some time, or maybe you've never done them, is you're gonna notice there's a lot more stabilization involved. Seeing as you don't have that set bar, it's gonna be a bilateral exercise, meaning it's gonna be both at the same time. Sometimes we'll do a unilateral where we'll just do one side of the chest, which can be great as well if you need to focus on any asymmetrical differences in the body. But today, we're just doing the classic flat dumbbell bench press, and I gotta admit, it feels damn good. I'm glad we added this into the program. Hell yeah.
You have the program, you might be thinking to yourself, why the hell are you doing dumbbell presses? Because unfortunately the barbell incline press is all taken, so I had to kind of, go with the flow on this one and go with dumbbell presses instead. It's a good thing is you can always switch out an exercise. If a machine's not available, if a certain kind of station isn't available, if it's taken, you can always find something else to do.
As Brandon was saying, don't ever feel that anything is so set in stone that there's no modification allowed. It's gonna happen a lot of times, especially during rush hours, which is typically first thing in the morning, right after work. It's gonna be sometimes where machines are taken. Just find an alternate exercise. There's plenty of them out there. A lot of dumbbells can substitute for barbells and vice versa. As long as you keep them going, keeping that heart rate high, getting in there, getting it done. That's what's important.
This one takes an extreme amount of energy. It's more of a kind of ballistic style movement where it's very explosive. So that bottom position, you want to use as much force as possible. Push yourself off in a very quick fashion. You're gonna bring your hands out to catch yourself on a platform. As you can see, we're just using dumbbells. It's kind of a nice alternative you can use if you don't have any kind of platforms available. And then once you reach the dumbbells, kind of press yourself up to the top position. When you drop yourself down, absorb your body weight while you're dropping, and then use that kind of momentum to rubber band yourself back to the next rep. So if you're kind of getting that nice fluid motion, feel a bit easier, but at the same time, the muscles are constantly contracting and moving, so it's very exhausting.
And if you're taking one look at this exercise, as Brandon called it, a ballistic movement, that sounds pretty hardcore, but also pretty badass, definitely buff dude style. But if you're looking at it going, whoa, this looks way too intense, just substitute it with push-ups, normal classic push-ups. And then, like with any exercise, slowly work your way up to the plyo push-ups. Just imagine you're Wolverine, and then you know you're doing it right. Hanging, twisting leg raises. 3 sets, 10 reps each side. And then phase 3 is done. It's time to celebrate. Scapular retraction. Yeah, start that celebration now.
The hanging portion will test your grip. Feel a bit in the shoulders and lats, especially after a back workout. But you're raising your legs, as you can see, and you're crunching that outer hip up and kind of towards that center line of the body. So you're getting the abdominal, but you're also getting the obliques as well. So it's a good exercise.
Okay, in the kitchen, making some dinner tonight. Gonna keep this recipe pretty fast. I got a buff baby who's in the other room, and he's right near me, but he doesn't like to be by himself for long. So I'm gonna whip this recipe up for my wife and myself really quick so we can have dinner, and then I can get back to the buff baby bonding. So this one is awesome. It's a baked and breaded boneless, skinless chicken recipe. So what you're gonna need is boneless, skinless chicken. You're gonna need 2 eggs that you're gonna mix up in one bowl, and in the other bowl, I'm doing something inventive today because I didn't have any breadcrumbs, so what I'm using is cereal instead. I had a little bit of Kix, and I had some honey nut oats. So what I went ahead and did is I put it in another bowl, I mixed it up with a muddler, I basically pounded it into powder. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the chicken, I'm rolling it in the eggs, and then I'm rolling it in the mashed up cereal. I'm putting it on a pan with parchment paper, gonna put it in the oven, which is on 420 degrees, gonna put it in the oven for about 25 minutes, and then we're good to go. We have dinner. We're gonna make it with a little side of salad, and hell yeah. So it's an easy recipe. This tastes absolutely amazing. Dip it in some barbecue if you'd like once you're finished, but I hope you enjoy it because it's a staple of our dinners, and hell yeah, Buff Dudes approved. I hear a baby. It's time to get back to Buff Baby.